Hey gang, my name is Rick and you're watching Let's Level Up, and today on the table we've got a new Kickstarter that is live right now, and I'm actually a week late to this thing and I really apologize for that, to miss a launch, but we had just moved into a new house. As you can see, the game room's a little bit different, and pardon the mess because we are still unpacking and everything. But this is Jack the Ripper, and it is from Crypt Games, and it is a really fun, cool filler game. If you've watched the channel before, you know that we are nuts for deduction type games. Any game that gives us a hidden roll and allows us to bash each other with big red bricks is a game that's going to get played often on our table. So follow me now to the table. I'm going to show you how this game works, and then after that we'll be right back here with our final thoughts. Here we have Jack the Ripper set up for a 5-player game. The game is very, very easy to set up. Every player gets an identity card. If you're playing with less than 5 players, make sure that Jack is included in the deck. Deal randomly the 4 other identities, discard the rest back in the box, shuffle them all, and then give each player a card. You have to make sure Jack's in there, because if Jack's not in there, there's really no point to playing the game, right? On that, we're going to have the item deck and the Ripper deck set up. Each player is going to have a life starting total at 15, and then whoever goes last will put the Ripper event token next to their name, so you know after they go, the Ripper event is going to happen, and bad things are going to occur. The game also comes with some really easy, quick setup cards, and then also some some life counters here, both with a 15 and a 30 count for an optional gameplay if you are not playing with the mat. The game has a very, very small, easy rule book. Everything fits in your pocket with this, and I absolutely love that. So after you have your setup, each player is going to get 3, and I'm just going to do myself here, 3 item cards. So the first thing you're going to do on your turn after you have your 3 cards, when it is your turn to go, is that you will draw a card and then play 1 card from your hand. Now there is a card here in the game, and I'm going to, zoom in here, get my focus right. There's a card here in my hand, in the deck, that forces you to play on it, and that is the pint of Irish whiskey. It also is a roll reveal, so if you are Jack, you want to be very careful when that happens. You are forced to play it, however, so you can't just stick with it. It is one of the only card in the deck that makes you do that. But the deal here is that any card with this symbol here in the bottom right corner is an attack. The others are utility cards that you can play. If you have an attack card, you have to play a card on your turn. Now, it doesn't have to be an attack card that you play, but it is something that means you do have to play a card from your turn. Hand management is key in this game. There are a lot of different tricks and nasty things that can happen to your hand throughout it, limiting your choices throughout the game. So not only may you be getting bludgeoned to death by your neighbors, but you also may be down to only 2 choices per turn. You can also see, and let me just zoom in here so you can get a better look at it. But you can also see that the value here in this corner lets you know how much damage it's going to do, also here on the card itself. So the left-handed gauntlet is going to cause a target player to lose 3 life, whereas the croquet club will have a target player lose 4 life. And I really like these little hand-drawn weapons here. I think it's very cool. There's a lot of interesting detail, and I'm a big fan of the art style. If we look here, we have the large black cloak, which is my only non-weapon. It says, play at any time, prevent all loss of life or murder to a target player this turn. This is one of the only cards in the deck that can actually prevent somebody from getting murdered. And again, it can be played at any time. Now, the problem is that you may not have this card for your team. It may be Jack that has it, right? So there's a lot of cool decisions and a lot of information that we can get by looking at another player's hand with other cards, and just figuring out who's doing what, right? And at the core of a deduction game, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that we can find who Jack the Ripper is. And there's a lot of that goes on in this game. Anytime you take damage, other cards can be played on top of that to prevent the loss of the damage. So if I wanted to bandage myself, if I got hit for 3, I can go back up there in the same turn and like I wouldn't die. If I am at 0 health at the end of the card's resolution, I am dead for that reason. After all players go, the Ripper deck is going to happen. We can look at a couple of these here. And let's just set our focus right. So here we have improved odds. It says Jack eliminates the strong. Each player with the highest life total must reveal their character card. These characters are murdered. So let's just stop and think about that for a second. This one card will kill whoever has the highest amount of health in the game. So if you've been sitting pretty at 15, you're dead now. If one of these characters is Jack the Ripper, he may instead murder up to 2 other characters. So this is, again, very, very powerful. And these are happening at the end of every round, right? These kind of cards, you have to be very careful. You want to make sure you find out who Jack is quick and kill them before they will do the same to you. Here we have the murderer's point. It says Jack the Ripper murders Victoria Beatty. So if you are Victoria Beatty, you reveal your character and you die, and that's never good. And it also has an alternate thing here. If Victoria is already dead or not in the game, Jack may heal himself up to 5 life. The murderer's point, Jack the Ripper murders Elizabeth Chase. Intense anger, Jack the Ripper slashes at Clement Morgan. Reveal Clement Morgan. Clement's player loses 5 life. So this is a pretty intense card right here, hence the name. But it's better than any of these 3, and you can see I just drew randomly the top 4 cards of the deck. 3 of them were insta-gives, and then this one right here is a loss of 5 life, so that's a third of your life here in this one card. And if you've been taking damage throughout the game, that is really bad. And since you don't know who Jack is at the beginning of the game, you can really, really do a lot of damage to some good people by just not knowing who is who. And I think that's where this game really shines. Very, very, with the right group, can be just a downright bloodbath, and I love it about this. So that is a very high-level look at how you play Jack the Ripper. I hope you guys enjoy that. Follow me now back to the game room, and we'll give you our final thoughts. Well, that is it for Jack the Ripper by Crypt Games. As you can see, there's a lot going on in this little filler game here. I mean, any game that can fit in your pocket and still provide this much fun, I think, is a winner for me, and the one I would strongly recommend you consider backing. Let's just go over the couple of the things here. First off, the mat is really good. It may be a little busy for my taste, but it definitely does what it needs to do. 1, letting us know when the Ripper event's going to pop up, and then 2, letting us know what everybody's life total is at very quickly and easily. And then with these glass beads, it's very easy to track that. So I'm a big fan of the mat. I'm a big fan of the item deck. There's a lot of variety in here. The item deck is really interesting because you don't have to play an item on your turn unless you have an item that is in fact a weapon, and the majority of the cards in this deck are weapons. So the chances are of you having to play a card on your turn are pretty high there. But if I were to, say, attack the character to the north side of the table from me with a 1-point weapon, maybe slap them with a glove or something, and then they come back and bash me for 5 points with a rock, I have a problem with that, right? And that kind of leaves Jack, who may be this player over here, snickering because we're going back and forth now and doing all of his work for him. What really kind of counters that balance, right, and prevent that really eye for an eye mentality is that the Ripper deck is coming at the end of every round. So, and this deck is absolutely unforgiving. We talked about some of the cards earlier, but there is a ton of stuff in here that will just wreck your day. So you never know when your ticket's going to be pulled, either by the other players or by the Ripper deck specifically, and it is something that you always have to be mindful of to try to make sure you're watching every player around the table, because you don't know who Jack is unless you yourself are Jack, and in my case, I am Jack, so we're okay. I guess if you play a game with me, I'm always Jack in that in that sense, regardless if I am or not. I tend to not last long in these sorts of endeavors, but I always have a really fun time doing so. I really like this. I think it's a really good, strong filler game. It's definitely one you can fit in between other games at an event. You have an all-day board game event, and you're waiting for people to wrap up on another table. This is a great game to bust out and play a couple sessions while you wait. And what I like about that is you can get in multiple sessions in. Really, really strong. Again, very, very good filler here. Definitely one that I consider backing. So take a look at the description of the video here. We're going to have the link to the Kickstarter page there. Again, sorry we're so late. I'd like to definitely try to make these at launch if we can, but unfortunately the move has kind of stopped that from happening this time. So Crypt Games, thank you for so much for allowing me to take a look at the game. I really like it. I think it's very fun, and I wish you a lot of luck on the campaign. And everybody who's watching this, please thank you so much again. Give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tell all your friends about us. And most importantly, until next time, game on.